Martin O'Malley, a better governor than Larry Hogan? I'm not even from Maryland, and I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. Enjoy the program. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Global Report with Zach The Celtics Guy. And yeah, it's on a weekend while I'm working. Yeah, and I just got finished doing an 8-hour shift. Got home not too long ago, and I'm just absolutely exhausted. So, if I'm not as upbeat in this video, well, that is one of the reasons. But that's the main reason. But you get the point. Um, I wasn't even planning on doing this. I was like, oh my God, I'm so fucking tired. Can I stay awake? But then I'm thinking, if I don't do it now, I'm going to think about doing it tomorrow. Then I'm going to forget about it tomorrow. So I'm like, you know what? I want to get it out while I can. So, but here's the thing, I'm not too tired to call out the bullshit, at least. So, I mean, sometimes I got to push myself. And sometimes I'm here to make sacrifices. So, why don't we get into this utter fucking bullshit from the Baltimore Sun, or as I like to call the Baltimore shit, or the Baltimore bullshit, that O'Malley was a better governor than Hogan. Hmm. As someone who is a big fan of Larry Hogan and thought he was a phenomenal governor, as someone from Massachusetts who is a big fan of Larry Hogan, I'm here to tell you that that's absolute horseshit. And no, that this is not even just because, oh, I'm a fan of Larry Hogan, so I'm going to defend him. Like, no, that's that would be no. It has nothing to do with that. That it's not a bias or anything like that. It's just a fact. It's just a fact that it's the other way around. It's the fact that Larry Hogan was actually the good one. Kind of like, remember fucking Farron Cookson? You got Joe Biden, the good one, right? Yeah, fucking horse shit. I mean, obviously that's what the Baltimore Sun is going to praise. Obviously, they're going to just praise the Democrats no matter what. And I'm not the one that's going to praise the two-party system either way. But Larry Hogan was a rare innovator in Maryland who turned Maryland's business climate around and put more money back into the pockets of Maryland families, working families, and everything else, investing more in public transportation, education, school construction, and much more. All the while, Martin O'Malley, what did he do in Maryland? He made Maryland one of the most business unfriendly states in the entire country, caused businesses to flee the state in a worse manner than any state in the Mid Atlantic region, one of the worst in the nation. Over 30,000 Marylanders ended up leaving under Martin O'Malley, especially during the second half of his administration, which is where Marylanders finally had enough and they voted against his Larry Hogan's opponent in the 2014 debates, Anthony Brown, who was his lieutenant governor, I believe. Lieutenant governor or attorney general, I can't remember. No, it was his who Anthony Brown was the I can't believe I can't fucking remember this. But it's of course I have to look this up. Yeah, this was the dude. Yeah, oh no, he was the attorney general. He's the attorney general now. He's the attorney general now. And wait, was he the attorney general? He was the no, he was the lieutenant governor. So it would have just been a repeat. And the fact that Martin O'Malley raised taxes on Marylanders 40 times in a row. Maryland lost over 8,500 businesses and over 200,000 jobs. Um, the dude was an absolute piece of shit. In 8 years, he managed to completely destroy Maryland, raising taxes 40 plus times in a row, wasteful spending running wild, businesses relocating to other more tax friendly states, including Delaware. Delaware, which is a blue as fuck state. So, do you know how pathetic a situation is when you've got Delaware, a blue as all hell state, be more business friendly than Maryland was under Martin O'Malley. Do you know how pathetic that is? But no, this article's bullshit. Everything that they said in here was dead wrong. And I'm also going to get into a bunch of other different things. But just this. O'Malley established the fastest rate of job growth in the region. Is that why Maryland lost 200,000 jobs under this asshole? Is that the reason why Maryland's economy ranked 49th out of 50 states by 2014? Which was among one of the very absolute worst in the nation. The fact that they lost 8,688 businesses and 200,000 plus jobs. Oh, except for that, right? Maryland ranked first among states for education in America for 5 years. And yet Maryland had one of the worst achievement gaps in the country. It was literally like there were two Marylands under this guy. Reports about doing really well, reports about doing really poorly. Okay? So even someone like me, who is a leftist and a socialist and as a pro-Marxist socialist, everybody would think that, oh my God, I'd be on the side of Martin O'Malley. Why would I be? Because this isn't socialism. What Martin O'Malley did was not socialism. What Martin O'Malley did was courtocracy, corporate greed, and everything. Did any of his regressive taxes go to anything good in Maryland? No. Maryland's wage growth stagnated under this guy. They had zero economic development under this guy. And the tax policies did not go to anything good. They just crushed small businesses and they basically destroyed people's lives. And then people just got up and left. They just said, we can't do it anymore. We're going to take our business and we're going to take our money and we're going to go somewhere different. That's what they did. Maryland ranked first in the nation in median income. Oh, well, then why did Maryland's economy rank 49th out of 50 states? First in business owned by women. Maryland was the 42nd most business-friendly state. That indicates an anti-business attitude. Maryland is also one of the top 2 states in America for science and technology. Okay, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I don't have a claim for that, but the rest of this was just bullshit. Arguably the best manager in government. The man that caused just every bad tax policy in the book. The man that caused 8,688 businesses to go under. A man that caused over 200,000 jobs to basically get crushed because this man crushed the economy. Oh, yeah, right? Oh, my God. You see what I mean? You want to know something? The reason why you got assholes like this that will just suck off these people that have these regressive tax policies and whatever. Oh my God, Martin O'Malley did so much better. And then bitching and moaning about all the stuff that Hogan had. Hogan cut funds for the Red Line. The Red Line didn't make sense. I didn't know that much about the Red Line, but I'll tell you something about the Red Line. The Red Line made no sense. Larry Hogan invested more in public transportation than any other governor. That's what he did with the tax money. In fact, that's what he did with the tax money. He cut education funding for the city as well. Horseshit. Larry Hogan also invested in schools. Many different new schools opened up in different areas across Maryland under his leadership. Oh, he redirected of transportation spending, likely boosted profits of his real estate interests elsewhere. I don't know anything about his real estate. And number 2, that's not even true. There's no evidence to back any of this up. So as you can see, this entire thing is literal nonsense. This whole thing right here was just absolute nonsense. The whole entire thing was complete and utter nonsense. Not a shred of it was true. Not one shred of it true whatsoever. And if you don't believe me about any of the statistics about Maryland, well then let's listen to some parts of the debate in 2014 that literally caused Larry Hogan to take off, and he would go on to become the governor of Maryland.
And thank you. When it comes to education, it's like there are two Marylands, with wonderful headlines about kids who do well and horrible headlines about the kids who do poorly, oftentimes in urban areas like Baltimore.
So you heard that, right? That was a debate moderator. But what does the Baltimore Sun say about that? Maryland ranked first among states for education in America for 5 years. But what was reported here? The complete opposite, right?
It's like there are two Marylands, with wonderful headlines about kids who do well and horrible headlines about the kids who do poorly.
That's one piece of it. That's just one piece of it. That's just one piece of it that just completely debunked that whole thing about, oh my God, how great Martin O'Malley did on education, blah, blah, fucking blah.
And setting tuition.
Gentlemen, we're going to keep moving so we can get many questions in. Steve from WV.
Healthcare, you were in charge of a failed rollout of the Affordable Care Act where you...
That's true. Martin O'Malley and Anthony Brown were in charge of rolling out Obamacare, and they wasted over $200 billion in doing that. They didn't even do a single health care plan. They didn't even do single payer. What did they end up doing? They ended up just rolling out Obamacare and wasting billions of dollars. Yeah, so much for those tax dollars, right? You would think that by raising 40 taxes in a row, you would think that they could have got universal health care 40 times in a row, right? No, anything but, because those tax policies did nothing except fund the rich and basically crush the middle class. That's what it did. Nobody in Maryland was a bigger enemy to the working class than this freaking clown over here next to Larry Hogan and, of course, Martin O'Malley, one of the worst enemies of taxpayer dollars.
You wasted $288 million of taxpayer money where there's a federal investigation going on with subpoenas being issued for fraud and corruption. You were in charge of economic development where we've lost 8,000 businesses and 200,000 jobs. How can you say you're making your strategic goals and you're going to continue to move in the right direction? We're not moving in the right direction.
And before we head to the rebuttal.
If they were moving in the right direction, then Larry Hogan never would have ran as governor.
Not one penny. I've always opposed, never had any role whatsoever in raising tuition, not one penny. I've always opposed every single tuition increase. In fact, I've been the leading voice of opposition to the 5 years in a row where you've increased tuition. You can't just keep repeating the same things. It doesn't matter how many times you repeat them. They're not going to make them true. I've never had any role in tuition increases, and you have.
But never during the early administration
I had no role in making those decisions. But
you see this right here? He knocked it out of the park. And there's a few other examples, too. I mean, I basically said what I had to say about that bullshit article, but I debunked it, and then, of course, here's the debunkment from this debate.
His partner, Governor O'Malley. One, we're 42nd out of 50 states in business friendliness. We have an anti-business attitude. That's what CEO Magazine says. Two, we have an onerous, unpredictable regulatory environment that's very difficult to maneuver. It's constantly changing. People say they moved to Delaware, they moved to Virginia, they got things done much faster. And three, we're the fifth highest tax state in the nation, and businesses make economic decisions on where to locate. So we not only are the businesses leaving, but the residents are leaving the shore and going to Delaware as well.
A very similar situation happened here in Massachusetts under Deval Patrick, who was an absolute piece of trash, and every single one of his policies were trash. And I was proud to have voted against him at age 18. And we had a very similar situation here in Massachusetts, where where I don't know where this state would have been if it wasn't for him. Just like we don't know where Maryland would have been if it wasn't for Larry Hogan. It is honestly moderate, business-friendly Republicans that have managed to change shit around. Those are the people that are going to get my vote. You either need a socialist candidate, a Green Party candidate, or you need an innovator like Larry Hogan or Charlie Baker, like we had here in Massachusetts, that's capable of stealing the left-wing voting bloc. I've said that over and over and over again. But someone like Deval Patrick was a complete and utter joke and a disaster. And him as a leader, he was abysmal. Deval Patrick did the exact same thing. He increased road toll taxes, the sales tax, the income tax, the sugar tax, alcohol taxes, every single thing. People were getting taxed up to their eyeballs. I mean, why do you think Massachusetts, where do you think we got the name Taxachusetts from? We mainly got it because of Deval Patrick. We mainly got it because of him. And we got it because of him. And guess what? His tax policies crushed us. And we also had a very similar situation where the businesses were fleeing and they were going to New Hampshire, they were going to Maine, they were going to Rhode Island. I mean, hey, they were going to fucking Rhode Island, which was also blue as fuck, but they even had a more business-friendly climate because Deval Patrick basically drove the businesses out, and they were leaving Boston, they were leaving all these areas, and they were going to Rhode Island as well. And residents were also leaving too because they were getting taxed to death. And thankfully, our current Democrat governor is a little more tax friendly. And I would say that the legislator has to work with her on those tax cuts and that tax relief, but that's besides the point. Deval Patrick was a horrible, horrible governor, a horrible, abysmal, disgusting joke of a governor and a human being. And he did not deserve to be governor of my state for 8 years. And it was an embarrassment. And it is an embarrassment to me. Okay. And I'm going to say this right. And I'm going to say this right now I'm going to say this right now as I literally look into the camera. And I'm going to say this as I'm looking into the camera. Deval Patrick had no business being in any position of power in any capacity in the United States of America, let alone my state. I don't know who was worse, Martin O'Malley in Maryland or Deval Patrick in Massachusetts. I mean, I can't speak for how Martin O'Malley was. I mean, he sounds horrible. He obviously sounded horrible. He destroyed the Maryland economy. Well, I know that all too well. Deval Patrick did the same thing here. Massachusetts saw a very similar situation. We saw a very, very similar situation to Maryland. We saw a very similar situation. We saw ridiculous wasteful spending, ridiculous tax increases. We saw business destruction, job destruction. We saw stagnating wages, stagnating economic development, businesses fleeing, the residents fleeing, people divided and angry, one position over the other, every single person. People leaving, people this and that. Massachusetts getting crushed. The taxpayers were getting crushed to death, including my family, and including many people in my family as well. So no, Deval Patrick was a failure and a loser, and he did not deserve to be in office. And it is an embarrassment to my state that he was even in office for as long as he was. And fuck anyone who defends him. Just like fuck anyone who defends Martin O'Malley. The only reason that the Baltimore Sun would defend Martin O'Malley, do you think that they suffered any of the tax increases that Martin O'Malley raised? No, because who did the tax increases hurt the most? They hurt the middle class the most. Just like Deval Patrick's fucking disgusting tax hikes on the Massachusetts on the Mass Pike toll system, his attempted increase of the gas tax, which Massachusetts voters repealed in 2014, which saved us billions of dollars, and we had cheaper gas prices until this corrupt piece of shit Joe Biden came in and jacked up our gas prices, and stuff like that. That's what we saw here. And his tax policies hurt us The most. Working class people like me and my family. And if it wasn't for Charlie Baker, who got in and cleaned up operations, and thankfully Massachusetts is in a much better position now, thanks to Charlie Baker, and also thank you to, Maura Healey, who's obviously more tax friendly, thank God. And thankfully, and of course, and based on what I've heard, what I've read and everything, Maryland is in a way better position. And we are way better off than from these tax-hungry corporate jackasses. And it doesn't matter how many times you will say it or how many times someone will say it, none of it is going to be true. People were saying that Charlie Baker was going to be an anti-LGBT governor. That was absolutely false. That Charlie Baker was going to deny trans kids their rights. That's a complete and utter lie. Charlie Baker raised money for question 3. He voted for question 3. Just like the lies they made up about Larry Hogan. They said that he was going to cut money from schools and give it to rich corporations. Oh, he's going to legalize assault weapons and put them in the shopping carts and in the schools. Ridiculous. It doesn't matter how many times. Politicians are the ones that lie. Someone like Larry Hogan. Larry Hogan was a community-based man, just like Charlie Baker was. That was the reason why he was able to get stuff done. That's why Charlie Baker was able to get stuff done. That was even why Chris Sununu in New Hampshire was able to get stuff done. The reason for that is because they know how to work the economy. They know how to speak to people. They know how to work with people. That's the difference. Someone like Anthony Brown, someone like this guy, someone like Deval Patrick, someone like Martin O'Malley will tax you to death, and then that tax money goes to those corporations. It goes to big oil. The gas tax increase that Deval Patrick tried to do, what did that go to? That didn't go to anything. We voted to repeal that. And it saved us billions of dollars. That's why we had one of the cheapest gas prices for any blue state in the New England region, including Rhode Island. Because imagine if Deval Patrick had his way and we had that gas, like that we would have had the worst gas prices probably in the nation, or one of them at least. That would have just went to big oil. Wasteful spending. This man destroyed the Massachusetts economy just like that guy over there destroyed the Maryland economy. So I don't want to fucking hear from assholes like the Baltimore Sun that got their heads up their asses and praise these people who have done nothing but destroy lives. But they don't care because it doesn't affect them. They weren't affected by Martin O'Malley raising taxes 43, 45 times in a row. Just like using a hypothetical, if the Boston Globe decided to defend Deval Patrick, well, of course, Politico was defending him. They didn't suffer from that. They didn't suffer from what Massachusetts suffered from under Deval Patrick. They didn't suffer. They didn't suffer what Massachusetts suffered under Deval Patrick's 8 years of disgusting leadership. When we saw businesses getting destroyed, jobs being lost, taxes being increased up to people's eyeballs, people getting crushed to death with taxes and costs and fees, and much more. That's what we saw. You don't know what it's like unless you live in their shoes. But a couple more clips to show you guys about this, because this debate was amazing.
Some of the most hateful, most disgusting television ads that ever been run. And it's really hurt his campaign. It's caused us to help close the gap because people are tired of politicians and they're tired of politics and they don't like this kind of negative campaigning.
And this moment right here, ladies and gentlemen, I think is what won Larry Hogan the entire debate.
Economic growth. Our state economy right
Hang on.
Minimum wage.
Hey, let's not interrupt, okay?
And of course, the asshole was talking over Mr. Hogan.
I realize you're Lieutenant Governor, but it's my turn to talk now.
On college affordability. I mean, come on.
Okay,
Gentlemen, we could do this all day. Let's
Wow,
give
I actually feel more awake now that I'm actually doing this video.
Jeff his shot. We'll just keep it
But
going.
I'd like to at least respond to some of that.
I tell you what,
All right, go ahead, Jeff.
we'll give you both 30. We'll give you 30 on this, Jeff. We're going to get to you. I promise.
But yeah, Martin O'Malley was a better governor, right? Please.
Here's what Marylanders are focused on. Marylanders are focused on the fact that we've raised taxes 40 times in a row, that we've lost 200,000 jobs, the fact that we've lost 8,000 businesses. They're concerned about the fact that we've had zero economic growth, that our state economy ranks 49th out of 50 states. That's what I've focused on like a laser beam for 3.5 years. They're not concerned about any of these crazy issues that you're trying to distract voters with because you cannot defend your 8-year record of failure. You did not deserve a promotion. Okay? We've had lost businesses, lost jobs, higher spending, record tax increases, and broken promises. That's what Marylanders are concerned
All right, I'll hold
about.
you to the third.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what won him the debate. That was amazing. Now, before I end this video, let's dive into what this man did. In 2013, Deval Patrick signed into law increases in sales tax, cigarette taxes, and gas taxes. The cigarette tax was increased by $1 per pack. Massachusetts lawmakers override Governor Deval Patrick's bill to raise taxes by $500 million. Thank God for that. The birth of a permanent gas tax increase. I'm glad that I was 18 years old at the time to vote to repeal that, and luckily it got repealed with 52% of the vote. Thank God. I fucking hate this man. I fucking hate this man, and it disgusts me beyond belief that anybody is going to defend this man, that Politico would defend this man, or that anybody would defend this man. This man's governorship, or lack thereof, was disgusting in every imaginable way. It was disgusting in every imaginable way. Deval Patrick was a disgusting, pathetic excuse for a leader. And again, I cannot believe people put this guy into office. On behalf of all Massachusetts residents, I am proud to say that I have never voted for this man. In fact, I actually went to vote against him. And the reason he didn't win, and the reason that he didn't win, and the reason Charlie Baker defeated his Attorney General, Martha Coakley, was because people had had enough, including me. I had enough. And we all had enough. Just like we all had enough, just like Marylanders had enough of Martin O'Malley, just like people had enough of Anthony Brown, just like we've had enough of all of these corrupt pieces of garbage. That this man was a joke. The income tax hike, just everything, just every bad thing in the book, everything. Increasing taxes by over $500 million. No wonder we were called Taxachusetts. Deval Patrick is the worst governor, and it is safe to say that Deval Patrick was the worst governor in Massachusetts history, who did not and does not deserve to hold any public office in Massachusetts or in the United States of America, or anywhere for that matter. The fact that this man raised taxes by over $500 million, the fact that Massachusetts' economy, when this piece of shit was in office, was ranked as one of the worst in New England. The fact that this guy raised taxes multiple times in a row, the fact that this guy almost caused us to have one of the worst gas prices, the fact that this guy wasted billions of Massachusetts taxpayer dollars, the fact that this guy did so much damage to our economy, But remember, guys, it's the Democrats that are the good ones, right? Right? Now. Massachusetts was saved from this guy because of this man. Maryland was saved because of this guy. That's what it all came down to. And thankfully, Massachusetts is in a better place, and thankfully my state's in a better place. And I'm glad that Maryland is in a better place too, because Maryland is actually a really cool place. And I'd love to visit someday. I really would. I'd love to go to the Eastern Shore or somewhere like that. I really would. But I'm here to say that boy, oh boy, the mainstream media and their affiliates do not live in reality. And the Baltimore Sun is one of them. And the look on Larry Hogan's face when dealing with this guy really speaks volumes. And we also owe it to the amazing ending to that debate with an amazing tune as well at the end. And I also thank Maryland Public Television for a very catchy debate ending.
Good night, everybody.
And on that note, we thank you. That's about it for now. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this segment that I did. Thank you all for watching. I know I went a lot longer than I anticipated. I was like fucking falling asleep before I made this. But I wanted to make it, and I got the news out there. So yeah, fuck Martin O'Malley. And more importantly, fuck Deval Patrick. Deval Patrick, fuck you. I might just even make a rant on this guy about everything. I might even do a video on that at some point. I might even do a video on that. Why don't I? Why don't I just even do a debate on that? Not even a debate. Why don't I just do a rant on that too? I might as well. I might as well include that in there too. But anyway, that's a video for another time. Stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for more. Stay tuned for my next readings book, the book series, man. Other stuff in the works. Stay tuned for more. This is Zach the Celtics Guy saying thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for my next video. Stay tuned for my next reading series, and stay tuned for my next live stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Look out for it. It's gonna be another big stream. Look out for it. Until then, and until the next video, this is Zach the Celtics Guy, as always, saying thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Till next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe, stay well, stay classy, and as always, keep fighting and keep on rocking. Till next time, Martin O'Malley, fuck you. Deval Patrick, fuck you. To everyone else, see you all in the next one. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night and peace out.